third day of protests brings scattered violence, arrests, still irresolved from federal authorities. Lithuanian President Zelensky's broken promise on tough sanctions against Russia, and why Zelensky said that we're very close to a point when Russia can be forced to end this war. We'll talk about this with political analyst, European Leadership Network, UK member Alexandra Filippenko. Alexandra, glad to see you, and thank you for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Alexandra, government Gavin Newsom said California would sue the Trump administration on Monday over the deployment of the National Guard, describing it as an unconstitutional act in an interview with MSNBC, and also commandeering a state's National Guard without consulting the governor of that state is illegal and immoral, he wrote on X. He has formally requested that the government rescind the deployment in Los Angeles County. President Donald Trump mobilized 2,000 National Guard members to intervene in protest against immigration sweeps this weekend. How is the public reacting to the demonstrations? How are people reacting to Trump's comments and actions? What could be the consequences of these protests for the city and country?
Well, the consequences might be grave. Actually, what we are seeing in Los Angeles, what we are seeing across California and across Southern California, of course, in the city of Paramount, where protests broke out at first, is staggering. We are seeing real protests against the actions of immigration authorities, of ICE, and of the Ministry of Homeland Security that is ICE is part of. Those protests against immigrant raids started a few days ago, but they intensified overnight. They intensified on the weekend. Roads were blocked, cars were set on fire, clashes between protesters and police, and it all happened because Donald Trump decided to mobilize, to send 2,000 National Guard troops. And also, I must say that he didn't rule out using another 500 Marines that remain on high alert in Southern California. Pete Hegseth, Minister of Defense, wrote on X that 500 Marines are ready to participate and to restore restore peace, as they say, but actually restore the control of the government over the cities. And yes, according to Governor Gavin Newsom, the deployment of troops is unconstitutional. But what Donald Trump says, the White House published a memorandum that they are able to use the forces because U.S. code allows the president to take control of National Guard units in 3 cases. Whenever United States is invaded or threatened with invasion by a foreign state, no, this doesn't work. When the president is unable to enforce the laws of the United States with the forces at his disposal, maybe. And the main thing, there is an insurrection or threat of insurrection against the authority of the United States. This is actually what Donald Trump is saying, that right now what we're seeing is an insurrection or a threat of insurrection to the authority of the United States. President Trump claims that protests that hinder ICE operations or immigration authorities operations are the insurrection against the government. So what's been happening, what we've been seeing, oh, excuse me. What we've been, oh.
Alexandra,
okay.
Alexandra, everything is good. We'll cut. Everything is good.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So what we've been seeing in the last few days, we've seen how ICE arrest illegal immigrants. And now I'm coming to your question, how the Americans react, actually. ICE are arresting illegal immigrants, but what ICE are doing, they are arresting those who are easy to get. They are arresting people, for example, in front of courthouses, people that apply for documents to legalize in the United States. They apply for some documents. They apply, for example, to stay in the United States. Maybe they entered illegally. Now they're making their case And that's when they're getting arrested. People that have stayed in the United States, that lived in the United States for years and years, that's who is being arrested. And the Americans, especially in California, are saying that no, you need to arrest criminal aliens, criminals who are in the United States, not those immigrants, even illegal immigrants, who are easy to get. According to different sources, there are from 11 million to 22 million illegal immigrants. And if we're talking about some conservative numbers, it's 11 million, but almost nobody believes that it's 11 million illegal immigrants. Most probably it's more around 12 million, 13, 14, 15 million. The Trump administration is saying 22 million. But it doesn't matter, even if it's just 11 million. It's a big number. It's a big number of illegal immigrants. And the biggest number of illegal immigrants lives in California. 3 million Californians, 3 million, those undocumented immigrants in California. For example, let's compare it by state. In Texas, there are 2 million. In Florida, about 600,000. In New York, about 400,000. So you see, in California, it's the biggest number of undocumented immigrants, as well as immigrants in general. In California, immigrants account for 27% of California's population. 27%, while if we look at the United States, it's about 13% in general. Like in Texas and Florida and New York and New Jersey, about 13% of population of those states. So coming to your question, finally, how Americans see it. Now we are seeing reports that still, most Americans approve of Trump administration's program to deport immigrants who are illegally in the United States. Right now, according to CBS News YouGov poll that was conducted on June 6th, 54% of Americans approve of Donald Trump's plan to deport all illegal immigrants. We're not talking about his actions in California. In general, 54% of Americans approve the idea of deporting immigrants that are illegally in the United States. So we must say that if Donald Trump would want any confrontation with California or with any governor, with like now he's having with Gavin Newsom, he would want it about illegal immigration. Because this is his powerful point, the point that he's making, that there are so many illegals that it is dangerous for the United States. It's dangerous for the American citizens. So right now we are seeing those clashes. But of course, in California, there's more support for immigrants in general. But throughout the United States right now, most people really see this as a necessity to deport illegal immigrants. But the way that Donald Trump administration is doing it, of course, is questionable, but let's leave it to lawyers.
Also, we see that Elon Musk retweeted a post from Trump that said Governor Gavin Newsom and Mayor Beth should apologize to the people of Los Angeles for the absolutely horrible job that they have done, and this now includes the ongoing LA riots. These are not protesters, they are troublemakers and insurrectionists. Remember, no Musks. The tech billionaire has also shared a number of other posts supportive of the Trump administration's response to the protests, aligning with the call for decisive action to restore order. Why is Elon Musk publicly supporting Trump's stance on the protests after conflict?
Well, Elon Musk is trying to make good with Donald Trump and with Donald Trump's administration. We are seeing now that from both sides, there are some tentative attempts maybe to restore, if not friendship, then at least peace between Elon Musk and Donald Trump. We know that from Donald Trump's side, Stephen Miller, his advisor, a very close advisor of Donald Trump, whose wife works with Elon Musk, is trying to make their call happen. They were supposed to talk on the phone. They were supposed to, Donald Trump and Elon Musk were supposed to talk and discuss the situation, but it didn't happen. So we know that Stephen Miller and some other Trump administration officials are working behind the scenes to make it happen, for them to talk and to just get it over with, get over with those quarrels and with the situation that we've been seeing in the past week, unfolding in the past week, where Donald Trump and Elon Musk fight, and anyone, and both of them, and the Americans in general and America will get hurt, most probably, because what Elon Musk can lose is 20 billion in government contracts. That's painful. What Donald Trump and the Republicans can lose is the support of the richest man in the world and one of the most outspoken man on X. His power is not only financial, his power is also informational. Of course, the influence of social networks, we know it's very, very powerful. So through the elections, during the elections of 2026, the Republicans, MAGA Republicans, would need the power of X, would need the power of Elon Musk, and also it is discussed whether Elon Musk played a big part, how big of a part Elon Musk played in Donald Trump's win, and what played a bigger part. The personality of Elon Musk, that everyone was discussing, how Elon Musk supports Trump, how Elon Musk creates those lotteries in swing states where everyone could win $1 million. Is that the personality of Elon Musk, or actually the money of Elon Musk that made things happen? Of course, $288 million was spent by Elon Musk to the support of Donald Trump and the Republicans. So it's a big sum of money, of course. But maybe Donald Trump could have found it somewhere else. He has many sponsors. He has many donors. He is a millionaire, billionaire himself. So what was more important, the money? Wasn't, of course, yes, we're not disregarding it. It was important. But what was more important, the money or the PR part of the whole story, of the whole Musk-Trump story? Sometimes we say, and everyone, we know that the saying that PR costs more than money. So maybe this means that actually the Elon Musk, the personality of Elon Musk, the brand of Elon Musk played a big, big part here. And now both of them understand that actually they're losing. Both are losing, and the Americans potentially are losing, because what we've seen from Elon Musk, that maybe he will, SpaceX will stop working with NASA. If SpaceX, if Dragon, the spacecraft Dragon is not available to NASA, then NASA can forget about flying to the moon. NASA can forget about going to the moon in 2026 or later, or to Mars. To that regard, of course, they can forget about that. Boeing's ship is being delayed and delayed and delayed. So NASA would need to go to Congress, would need to ask for millions, if not billions, but millions of dollars for sure, for a new contract with a new private company, probably with Boeing, to build a new spaceship. And while we know that SpaceX is a private company, and who else works with space? Who else? Of course, we can talk about Russia, but Russia is not as successful in that at all, as in many other things. But China is interested in the moon. China is interested in space. China is interested and potentially can be interested in working with Elon Musk, because Elon Musk's companies already work in China, like Tesla, for example. SpaceX is a private company. It didn't pledge allegiance to the United States and the flag of the United States and the republic for which it stands. But now, why SpaceX cannot move and work with China? It can. It can. It's a private company. It can. But this will be, of course, a very, very harsh situation. And we understand all hell will break loose and everyone will hate Elon Musk. But if he goes as far as work with China, the America will lose. The United States will lose. Americans will lose. NASA will lose. Not just Donald Trump as a private personality or as a president or as a head of the Republican Party that will lose support during the elections of 2026. Not only Elon Musk as a personality, as a businessman, as the richest man, he will lose government contracts. the country will lose. So now there are so many people working behind the scenes to make that quarrel go away. And we are, of course, aware of the fact that right now, Elon Musk will let's see how it unfolds in the next few days. But now we're seeing him saying good words about the Trump administration, supporting the Trump administration. So this probably means that he himself wants to make peace. And of course, the California situation is a good example, is a good way to start the conversation with Donald Trump yet again.
Guys, drop your thoughts in the comments. Your voice matters, and tell us what you think in the comment section. We're reading everything. Alexandra, also, if we're talking about President Volodymyr Zelensky, he believes that Ukraine and its allies are very close to the moment when Russia can be forced to end or at least hold the war. But this would require the United States to impose tough sanctions on Russia, reported by Zelensky in an interview with ABC News. He said, "We're very close. We need strong support from the United States. The US needs unity with Europe and still needs to put pressure on Putin. He doesn't want to end the war, as we see, but he can end the war under pressure from partners. In my opinion, that gives us a chance." And this doesn't sound pessimistic at all. We're talking about reality. What are the risks, in your opinion, of overestimating how close we are to a turning point in the war? And what about position if we're talking about Donald Trump?
Well, for Donald Trump right now, even though that interview, that ABC interview of Volodymyr Zelensky was seen by many, many Americans, and it's always important when Volodymyr Zelensky speaks directly, let's say, to the American audience. But Donald Trump has been trying and doing his best and doing everything he can to avoid being part of the negotiations. And right now we're hearing, and of course some sources are saying that Donald Trump's administration is trying to push the senators not to go through with the bill, not to go through with sanctioning Russia Act that already has enough sponsors, that means enough votes in the Senate. And according to the reports, it has enough votes in the lower chamber of Congress. So both chambers of Congress will vote for this bill. And now we are hearing that the Trump administration is trying to delay the vote. They're trying to delay because they don't want to go to a more tough confrontation, to a harder confrontation with the Russian side. They want to not be a part of everything. They just want two sides to talk and to come to some kind of a conclusion. This is what we are seeing from the American side. This is what we are seeing from Donald Trump. And I must say that the Americans will have their say, of course. I am sure right now all senators and all congressmen in general, they are talking to their constituents. They are trying to get the polls done by what their constituents think of the continuing war, Russia's war with Ukraine, and the American support or lack thereof. Right now, we are seeing how some weapons that were supposed to go to Ukraine are going to American troops. Yes, it's all according to the law, but they're going to American troops stationed in the Middle East. So the situation is actually dire, and Donald Trump and his administration are trying to do their best not to be a part of the conversation right now. They want to see two sides talking one to another. But there was one player in the last few days in the White House who actually brought the conversation to another level, and that was Friedrich Merz, the Chancellor of Germany, who came to the White House, who spoke with Donald Trump, and obviously he spoke about Ukraine. He spoke about what is happening right now, and he, when he was in the White House, when when he went to the White House, he suggested that the United States should remember that it's June 6th. They were talking prior to June 6th. June 6th is the anniversary when the Americans ended the war in Europe. It was D-Day. D-Day. That's what Friedrich Merz started talking about. And Friedrich Merz reminded that this was the liberation of his country from Nazi dictatorship. And as Friedrich Merz put it, we know what we owe you. But this is the reason why I'm saying that America is again in a very strong position to do something on this ongoing war and ending this ongoing war. Let's talk about what we can do jointly. And we're ready to do what we can, says Chancellor of Germany. And you know that we gave support to Ukraine and we continue giving support to Ukraine, but we're looking for more pressure on Russia. That is what we should talk about. And Donald Trump replied, yes, we should talk about it. It's good timing to talk about it now. We don't know what they discussed behind closed doors. Donald Trump, of course, wants to see Europe take more responsibility. Of course, the NATO summit will show us where the United States are moving towards and what is the thinking of the Trump administration. But right now, we saw this powerful player in the White House who really tried to explain the situation to President Trump, repeating and stressing that this is the United States, once again, who are in a strong position to do something on the ongoing war and ending the ongoing war. So for now, Donald Trump is quite silent. Donald Trump is concentrated on his brawl with Elon Musk. But in the next few days, most probably, we will see maybe a change in the Trump administration's vision, or at least maybe some explanation of what their vision is now. Because after a chancellor's visit, we didn't get much comments of Donald Trump on Ukraine, although it's absolutely obvious that they talked about it quite a lot.
Alexandra, you mentioned Friedrich Merz and German Chancellor Friedrich Merz, together with the leaders of France and the United Kingdom, promised to impose tough sanctions on Russia if it did not agree to a ceasefire with Ukraine. But he did not keep the promise, thereby undermining trust in Europe, believes Lithuanian President Gitanas Nausėda, according to Bild. And Nausėda said, this is a problem and it affects not only trust in our sanctions, but also trust in all our measures toward Russia and our support for Ukraine. We have repeatedly announced that we will support Ukraine and supply fighter jets, long-range missiles and ammunition, but we are unable to fulfill these promises. To what extent does this undermine European unity in the face of Russian aggression? Your own opinion.
On the one hand, of course, there is this situation when European Union should act in general, European Union as a unity, as a number of states that work together, that act together. But we're seeing this coalition of the willing, and within the coalition of the willing, there are states that are more active and less active. So now we are seeing maybe a rift within the European Union. This, of course, brings its own problems and the idea of some parallel, let's say, actions of certain countries, of different countries within the European Union. But most countries that are on the border with Russia, of course, are more powerful in trying to get through with more sanctions, more pressure on Russia, with more help to Ukraine, although we understand that the coalition of the willing, if we look at reality, if we look at what is happening, we understand that the coalition of the willing is more military able to help Ukraine. Although I must remind you what State Secretary Rubio has said some time ago, that the United States were trying to convince European nations to send patriots to Ukraine and to send patriots that they have in Europe to Ukraine, but they could not do it. And the Europeans, according to State Secretary Rubio, Europeans did not want to do it because they didn't have enough of them for themselves. So right now, most probably what we are seeing is the military-industrial complex that should work much faster. And if we remember what Rutte, if we remember what Mark Rutte said about the NATO countries, that NATO countries are producing less weapons than Russia, less weapons, and Russia is producing way more, and we are seeing the statistics. According to analysts, Russia is actually producing more weapons than all countries of the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. So this is a challenge, of course, for Europe in general. So what we are seeing, this rift within the European Union, it is, in a way, not a threat to European unity, I wouldn't put it this way, but it is a threat to European leadership. And this is what Trump is afraid of. He wants to see European leadership in helping Ukraine. So right now, the things that are happening in the European Union are not what the Trump administration wants to see. And this might weaken even further the support of the United States to Ukraine, because if the United States are not seeing enough support from Europe, they would probably, or maybe they would not give as much support to Ukraine, or even give less support to Ukraine than before.
Alexandra, thank you for joining this conversation. Today we had the privilege of speaking with Alexandra Filippenko, political analyst and member of the European Leadership Network UK. Her insights added great depth and expertise to our discussion. Alexandra, thank you so much again. And we